Okay, now you can see the attendees are coming in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
12 so far. It's always interesting to see how many people actually come to the webinar from the number that register.
That registered, yeah.
We had a problem in October. I had Candace Nelson talking about the whole issue of listening to clients and client education and things like that, and we had 237 people sign up, but my license only allows 100 people. So I was hoping we'd have like 94 or 95 people, and apparently it was somewhere in excess of 100, and instead of just the first 100 being let in, only 22 people got let in, and everyone else, the program crashed after that. So it was pretty bad.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so we had a whole bunch of people that didn't get in. I mean, fortunately, we record these things, but it made it a little frustrating for people who are trying to come in.
At least sharing the recordings will be one thing. Like, it won't be 100% lossless, you know?
Yeah, exactly so.
But I'm not seeing other people logging in. Maybe you can see them. I don't know.
Yeah, I see 16 people.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know if maybe that's why I wanted to make sure I was running the from the kind of the control panel that has. I have a control panel that has everything in it. So
Okay. Okay.
now we have 15 people.
That's good. Usually, even internet by itself is an issue.
Yeah.
Some countries. Yeah.
Yeah. Even here in the States, sometimes it just disappears. So we'll cross our fingers and hope it works. Okay, one more time. Kinfe Mekel. Kinfe Mekel.
Yes.
Kinfe Mekel Yibka Abraha. Okay, good.
Yes, you got it right.
Got it. Okay. Okay, I'm actually going to start the broadcast. It's just a little early, but just to let people know that we're going to start.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome, everyone, to the first 2013 SMDP webinar in our webinar series. It's a little early, but I thought I would get on, give a few announcements, and I think I'll start. We have people are starting to come in. We have about 16 attendees out of 81 registered, so I'm going to talk a little bit here before everyone comes in. I'll introduce our speaker and the topic in a minute. I just wanted to let everyone know that we are going to have quite a few webinars this year, probably more than the 8 we had last year. I want to let you know that this month in particular is pretty webinar heavy. After today's webinar, we will also have one on Thursday, February 14th, so that's a week from tomorrow, with Hugh Allen. Hugh is with VSL Associates. Hugh is considered kind of the father or godfather of the savings group movement in the world, and he has been instrumental in developing a MIS system, a tracking system for organizations that are doing savings group work, and that particular software has been upgraded to a web-based software. It's very exciting and pretty interesting whether you're using the software or not, or are involved in savings groups or not. So we are going to have a webinar Thursday, February 14th. Everything you always wanted to know about savings groups-based, web-based management systems, but we're afraid to ask. So the registration is actually up on our webpage for that, so go ahead and sign up. On Wednesday, February 27th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States, that's -5 GMT, we will be co-presenting a webinar with the Microcredit Summit campaign. They have recently, actually just yesterday, released a new State of the Microcredit Summit report called Vulnerability, the State of the Microcredit Summit Campaign. And we will be having Larry Reed as he'll be our moderator for a panel that will also include Chandra Ghosh, who is from Bandhan, and Louisa Brunori, who is a scholar who has written in this paper. So please tune into that. The registration link will be up in a few days for that. And then we skip March because I'll actually be in Ghana, and I'll tell you more about that program in 1 second. But in April, we will be having a conversation, April 5th, a conversation on savings groups at the Frontier book, a new book that has several authors. It was a result of the Arusha Savings Group Summit that happened in October of 2011. We'll have Candace Nelson, who was the editor of the book, Paul Rippey, and Kim Wilson, who will all be speaking about different aspects of savings group work. We'll be having a French version of the vulnerability discussion with the Microcredit Summit campaign in May. There'll be more announcements on that. And then in June, we hope to be able to have a special event. We'll be actually running a training program here in New Hampshire where we're going to have a live webinar that'll take place in the classroom with Mr. Greg Van Kirk from Community Enterprise Solutions. They're doing some really interesting micro-consignment work in Latin America, and Greg will talk to us about the micro-consignment model and how they're using it to build entrepreneurship. So those are the upcoming webinar events. There's more in the planning, and we'll be able to let you know more details about that as we go forward. I'm really excited today to be able to introduce Kinfe Mikal Yibka Abraha, who is with the Association of Ethiopian Microfinance Institutions, AFEME. He'll be talking about the topic of today in just a minute. I'll turn the mic over to him. But Kinfe Mikal has been at AFEME since May of 2011 as a Senior Social Performance Management Officer. He currently heads the Social Performance Management Unit by ensuring high-quality performance, project coordination, technical support, and SPM, and achievement of deliverables. He has more than 10 years of experience in the field of finance. His work covers over 8 years of solid experience in the banking sector, covering all operational areas under various assignments, and close to 2 years in the microfinance industry. Kinfe Mikal is a public policy economist specializing in social policy design. He graduated from the University of Maastricht in the Netherlands with an MSc degree in public policy and human development, and is certified in microfinance and SME finance by the Frankfurt School of Finance and Management. He holds a BA in economics and diploma in accounting. The topic, social performance, bringing back balanced performance management to microfinance, is a really key issue today in microfinance. As everyone is well aware, we've had some pretty severe bumps along the way with scandals, with high interest rate issues, with difficulties with many MFIs being able to really reach very poor people with their products and services. And very smartly, leaders in the microfinance field have looked at some very effective ways of getting us back to our roots, getting us back to the basic poverty alleviation role that microfinance was originally intended to accomplish. And Catholic Relief Services through MISION has done really a terrific job of taking these concepts, these ideas and theories, and turning them into a real concrete practice so that institutions can learn about how they can realign their priorities and goals to be more in sync with their mission and be able to realize this down to the field level in operations and the way in which their loan officers operate, the way their entire organization is structured. And so we're really pleased to have Kinfe Mikal be here today to talk to us about this. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to him. I just want to let you know that we do want to take questions from people. You should see a question box in the bottom of your little navigation from GoToWebinar. So please go ahead and start asking the questions now. Kip and Mikhail will talk for about 25 minutes or so, and then we'll start right on with the questions and give you an opportunity to ask. And I will allow follow-ups. If you ask a question and need clarification, then please just keep typing in your questions, and I'll moderate. I do want to remind people that for some reason you need to leave, or well, you wouldn't be able to hear this if you weren't actually here, but for some reason you want to listen to this again, or you want to pass it on to someone else, we are recording this, and in a week or so we will have this up on the SMDP webinar page, so you can go back and view the slides and listen to the presentation. So, okay, without further ado, I want to turn it over now to Kinte Michel, and welcome, Kinte.
All right. Thank you, Bill. I don't know whether to say good morning or good afternoon, but it's certainly getting late here after 6. But I would like to say welcome, everyone. And today we will see what we're doing under the CRS MISION project to bring about balanced performance management to the core of the MFIs. And before I go and jump into that, I would like to somehow discuss a few points about microfinance itself, how it started, and now why we're talking about balanced performance management. So talking about microfinance, it certainly wasn't started like as we know some 20 or 15 years ago. The elements of microfinance or practices of microfinance has been there for centuries, even in the most developed countries, in different forms, that is. But mostly, microfinance in developing countries started out of inspiration. Today, if you talk to senior managers and founders of microfinance institutions all over the developing countries, you'll find out that they started this out of inspiration, out of the work of Muhammad Yunus himself. So a lot of people were inspired by that, and then there were some core elements of the nature of microfinance, like microfinance were there to provide inclusiveness, financial inclusiveness for those people who are disenfranchised or not getting access to the formal formal or conventional financial institutions, because of issues relating to collateral, because of issues relating to transaction cost and all of that. So microfinance came up with about 6 or 7 core elements, which is about collateral substitution, which is to mean it provides means for poor people who are assetless to access credit, so that they can enable themselves for their business startup or to build up on their businesses. And it also focuses as an element on small units of services. It certainly involves high transaction costs. It gives high priority to women. Like, for instance, if you look at the statistics of Grameen Bank from years ago, you will see that 97% of the clients of the Grameen Bank used to be women, and there are reasons for that. And group methodology was introduced as one element, and then the doorstep service, whereby you go to clients, you talk to them, because the poor people that we are talking about don't even know that they deserve a loan and that they can access finance and do business. So you have to provide a doorstep service delivery as one element, and it's all about clients, and it's client-centered. So these core elements were there when microfinance was introduced. But currently, if we look at the environment of microfinance throughout the world, there is an increasing commercialization going on, which is leading MFIs away from these core elements that I just briefly tried to mention. And then if we try to look at it from a different perspective, we can look at the phases of development of microfinance. So microfinance, as soon as it kick-started, people were concerned, the institutions, were concerned about sustainability or feasibility. So the question was, can this really work? Can we really bank with the poor? Was the question. Is this idea feasible? And luckily enough, microfinance institutions have proved that it's doable, that you can bank with the poor. So the feasibility stage is one thing that we can look at, and then there's also the sustainability stage, where things somehow started to change. Well, to the better of the institutions, but somehow leaving behind the clients, I would say. And there was a lot of push coming behind this sustainability issue. For instance, if you look at the principles of microfinance that were later on developed by CGAP, you will see that microfinance is about building financial systems that serve the poor, but making sure that you're sustainable so that you can address as many poor as you can. So these principles started to push microfinance institutions to focus more on sustainability. And along the way, what came about is people practicing in the industry came to realize that the poor are not only bankable, but business with the poor can also be lucrative. So this commercialization phase, which is going to be the third phase that came about. But in this commercialization stage, institutions focused more or gave more emphasis to profit, which means in other ways high prices for the clients, low costs, operational costs, improving on products and stuff like that. So this was going on, and then there's like a worldwide movement that we see now, and there are reasons why we have to do SPM, why a worldwide movement on SPM as well. So the commercialization aspect is the one that I just talked about, but there was also the other issue with performance measurement and management problem with the MFIs. Microfinance institutions throughout the world have spent years in developing their financial skills. So if you talk to any MFI anywhere in the world nowadays, they can talk about all their financial indicators. They have the tools to report them. But if you ask anything about social performance as such, they will be having trouble because there's no measurement and management in that aspect. So this is one burning issue that called about the movement for SPM. And then there's also the increasing criticism towards the industry, which Bill briefly mentioned earlier today, which is relating to the incidents that were hyped by the media, I would say, in Bangladesh, India, Andhra Pradesh in particular, people committing suicide because of over-indebtedness and issues like that. And then another factor could be costly and unused impact studies. Impact studies have been done for a while, but no real benefits coming out of impact studies, and they're expensive. So there has to be a way that is better to manage, to manage that impacts can actually take place towards the clients. If I take you to the slide, you can see this social performance pathway where an institution starts from the strategy stage. That's where we talk about core purpose, mission, goals, objectives, and all of that. And then there is the operation stage. But at the end of the day, everything focuses on the clients. And for the clients, your products and services that you provide have to bring about results. So the first thing is you have to know your targets, who you are looking forward to work with, and you have to specifically address your target. So knowing your target is one thing, and then you have to know what your clients are looking for, what their need is, and you have to provide what your clients need. And if you are doing that, and then certainly you would be having impact in your clients' lives. So what kind of impact are you looking to bring about in the lives of your clients? These are the core issues that we have to further reflect upon and take feedback, so that we use the information we get from our clients to better our strategy and operation at the same time. Throughout the presentation, I'll be focusing on the social performance management project that we are currently undertaking in Ethiopia through the Catholic Relief Service Mission Africa project. So in that project, we have this dimension where social performance management is really brought about into real practice. So by definition itself, social performance management is about translating an institution's mission into practice along with accepted social goals and objectives. For instance, to discuss this, we have to look at the first step, which is the intent and design of the institution. So why is the institution in the first place established? This is what we usually state in our mission statement. And if the mission of the institution talks about poverty, then all our internal processes and systems have to be aligned with that, core purpose. And our outputs have to also be focusing on identifying and measuring results, which are later going to be interpreted as outcomes. So first we have to have a desired goal, and then we have to align it with our processes. And then the third stage will be to measure and then improve our processes as a whole. And the end stage being, bringing about impact in the lives of the clients for the better. So if you look at this dimension, it looks at the whole operational business of an institution, starting from the core, strategic, intent and design, all the way to the impact at the end of the day. Furthermore, in the industry, microfinance, I would say, is a sector that is blessed with initiatives and supports coming from organizations that rate the operation of the institutions, which is making a lot of impact, I would say, in bettering the performance of institutions. But mostly, these ratings going on and assessments going on, we're focusing mostly on financial results and financial indicators. But currently, however, through social performance management, we can also measure social performance. We can also assess social performances, and there are rating agencies that are that have a lot of experience in doing that, which is also helping the industry in once again revitalizing the core mission that the institutions were first established for. So, for instance, if we look at social performance management in particular, the intent and design stage, we have tools that we can use to assess if they are being true to their mission statement and their social goals. For instance, on the CRS MISION project, there's a tool that we are using to conduct social audit, and CRS has got SPI tool, MFC have got the quality audit tool, and Audit Micro said SPM is also there. This has various tools that one can use to assess the processes, and social rating agencies like MCRIL, Microfinance Rating, Microrate, Final Rate are doing this. But at the same time, results from social performance can also be measured by using tools like PPI and poverty assessment tool, especially if the institution is focusing on poverty alleviation. To go ahead and talk about MISION project, MISION is an abbreviation, as you can see, and it means microfinance institutions improve their social impact and outreach through network. There are certain aspects of this project. So MISION Africa project is about capacity building, meaning, like we have said earlier, microfinance institutions lack the cap to measure, the skill to measure and manage their social performance. So it tries to build capacity that helps MFIs to improve their performance management overall, not only focusing on social performance management, but overall performance management in the institutions. and of course it targets microfinance institutions. It focuses on the promotion of balanced performance management. So, like we have said, because of this commercialization or mission drift, microfinance institutions were more focused on their financial performance only. But now we need to bring a balance where institutions can look at financial and social performance as a whole, balanced. And it's not about direct loan and saving provision, but it's about management. And what it does for MFIs is that, like we have said, microfinance institutions mostly are inspired by the good work that microfinance can do, especially in alleviating poverty. But if you look at their mission statement, that's what it's saying, but there is no tools to measure. They're not managing it, they're not measuring it, they're not staying true to their mission. So there are some mission grids, or we can call it. So the mission project will clarify that mission statement in terms of aspects like targets and what kind of services and products, the mix of products and services that we are providing, and then what impact are we after. So these things will be seen if it fits into the mission statements of the institutions. So their mission statement will be clarified. And then related goals with their mission statements will also be identified, and specific objectives that are SMART objectives will also be identified that relate to these social goals that we directly derive from the mission statement. And then the mission project also defines social indicators that will be integrated in the institution's monitoring system and MI systems. This is actually a tricky part, because I think when we're talking about social performance as a whole, indicators are still, I think I would say, tricky in the whole social performance management. But it will help, this project is helping MFIs identify their own indicators, their own lead and lag indicators that are directly related with their own objectives that the institutions believe in, that the institutions agree in. So it helps them do that. And then this project also conducts auditing based on the Baldrige model, like I've said. So it provides self-assessment tools that the institutions can use, and it assigns technical assistance people that specifically conduct auditing from our perspective. It also provides performance management trainings and skill development tools like balanced scorecard, and for result measurement, and then progress. We use PPI, which is the Progress Out of Poverty Index, and competency management and market client. All of that is also included as part of the technical assistance that the project will provide. And the Mission project also helps develop a strategic spend plan, which is to be integrated into the institution's strategic plan, more focusing on SPM as one element. And at the end of the day, the major issue is strengthening their reporting capacity on social performance. To say a few things about the social audit tool that the Mission project uses, I've said before, it's the Baldrige criteria. This is one thing that makes the Mission project unique in terms of approach, because if we look at the Baldrige criteria, it's looking at a global performance management of the institutions. So it's not just focusing on social elements only. This criteria looks at 7 areas. So it looks at the leadership of the institution. It looks at the strategic plan of the institution. It looks at the workforce. It looks at the client focus. It also looks at the processes and management. And it also looks at the resources. And then the measuring system that the institution uses. So this is what we use for social auditing. And it's really not focusing on rating as such. So the results of the audit is more focusing on the reflections. So identifying gaps and improvement areas is the major focus in this process. I think I would say in our context, this has caught the attention of some of the microfinance institutions, has brought about interest in them to, further go ahead and implement SPM, because it's also helping improve their overall performance management. Because along the way, we can also tackle, the missing link, which we call, the social performance management. So this is what the Mission project is about, and then through these projects, we've been doing this project for 2 years now, 2011 and 12, and there are 14 MFIs partnering and participating in this project. From this MFIs, we've seen throughout the last 2 years that we have achieved some major achievements that I would like to share with you. This will be number one. All MFIs, I can say, the 14 MFIs under this project have reviewed their mission statements and have revised them according to the standard of what the mission should constitute. And true targets, and then what's the mix of
Oh, I think we have lost Kinfei. Kinfei, are you there? Can other people hear my voice?
significant thing that we have achieved is we have verified indicators, process and activity indicators and result indicators for all of these MFIs.
Kinfei,
Kinfei,
I'm sorry, we lost you for about maybe 10 or 15 seconds.
Okay.
Have to go back a little bit. Sorry about that.
Okay. 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 So I've just been informed that you've lost me for a while. So I'll go back and say, repeat some of the few lines. So what I've said was through this project we have achieved some major achievements. And all of the partnering MFIs, 14 of them. In terms of number, it makes about 50% of the microfinance institutions in the country. But if we're looking at portfolio, it makes about 97%, I would say, because some of the biggest microfinance institutions, some of them with 760,000 active clients, are also partnering in this project. So we're having a huge impact in the Ethiopian context. So all of these MFIs, 14 of them have revised and reviewed their mission statements to be in line with the standard of a mission statement, and then they have a core objectives, their goals and core objectives relating with their goals that are smart objectives that are going to be applicable to their operational areas, and indicators, most importantly, were identified for these objectives that are activity and process indicators and result indicators. We call them lead and lag indicators were identified, but unfortunately so far no one has been daring, I think, from the MFIs to measure any of these indicators because of some understanding issues going on, because the indicators are not strong enough, a lot of issues going on, but still indicators are identified, and we hope for the next year to push for those MFIs to go ahead and start measuring some of them. And most of the MFIs have integrated this new statement, objectives and goals with their strategic plan. Luckily for us, the past 2 years, MFIs have been winding up their strategic plan already, so they were developing a new one, and then in that we are seeing SPM coming as one element and integrated with their new strategic plan. And 5 MFIs out of this 14 MFIs have implemented PPI, which is the Progress Out of Poverty Index tool, and then they have collected the data to identify the poverty level and the poverty distribution of their clients, which is, I would say, a big success. And if these 5 MFIs can go ahead and continue to track the progress of their clients. I think this will be one thing that we have to blow and show to the industry that it has got its own benefits to really measure the impact we're having. So in terms of result, they're using PPI. And for MFIs, are developing with the help of the MISION project, course of ethics, manuals, and procedures, and then plans, business plans as well. And in this, what we are looking at is making sure that SPM is integrated in this, new ethics manuals and procedures that they are developing. And we're expecting by end of March, these 4 MFIs will have totally integrated documents.
Uh-oh. We might have lost him again. Kinfei? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the slings and arrows of doing something over the internet. You seem to have really lost him now.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
Okay.
Kinfei, I'm sorry, we lost you for about a full minute this time.
A full minute. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
should I go back?
Yeah, just whatever you can remember your last, 30, 40
Yeah.
words, something like that.
Okay. Okay. So just to talk about some of the things that maybe you have missed. Most MFIs strategic plan. So they have developed a strategic plan that constitutes an
Uh-oh.
for the time being. Hello?
Yes, Kinfei. Okay, we got you back. We lost you again for a minute there.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
Nope. It's just the internet. So keep forging ahead, and we'll do our best here.
Okay. So for MFIs, at the moment, with the support of the MISION project, developing code of ethics, manuals, procedures, business plans, but the one thing that we're focusing on and we're making sure is that SPM is fully integrated into this ethics manuals and procedures, and all the client protection issues are also being integrated. So we hope by the end of March, this MFIs will have the necessary technical assistance and have developed, these manuals and procedures to include SPM. And in terms of reporting, 18 MFIs are reporting to the mixed market, but only 3 on SPM. But as we go along, hopefully more MFIs will start to report on the mix. Looking at the achievements at the network level, MFI is the national network here in Ethiopia, and to say a few, MFI has become really a resource center. We have been able to gather information in the SPM area. We've been sharing some of the core activities going on, the initiatives going on, every information we can find, so that the industry can take advantage of this global movement. And MFI has also taken the initiative to develop specific activities in SPM, strategic ones. And any microfinance institution in the country, if they are interested to implement SPM, they just have to follow these specific activities, starting from A to Z, so that they can further get ahead in the SPM implementation. This was necessary to do because there was a confusion, I think, going on in some of the microfinance institutions because of this number of initiatives currently. I think taking place all over the world. There's the SMART campaign talking about client protection. There's the SPTF talking about universal standards. There's the responsible pricing issue coming from MF transparency. All of these issues were somehow confusing people. So we thought about what one MFI can do, looking at all these initiatives for a successful implementation of SPM. So we have this strategic activities laid down for anyone to take a look. And the other thing, I think major achievement at the network level is capacity to provide technical assistance has been developed. This does not only include the staffs of the network, but also the consultants, the technical assistance providers that were involved throughout the implementation process in the project. Is a big achievement at the network level, I would say. And many SPM workshops and trainings were provided, and then there's also the capacity, so we can look ahead for future workshops and trainings as well. And there's one case study shared to the industry, I would say, and was submitted to SIP on SPM experiences in Ethiopia so far. And a study on the status of SPM in the country was also conducted, so questionnaires were developed to assess the status of SPM, what the MFIs thought about it, what they're doing, and this was also published in one of the publications, occasional papers that came about in 2012, which is focusing on the growth of the industry, the microfinance industry in Ethiopia. So this was one part of that study. And we have tried to be communicative enough to create alliance with major initiatives going on throughout the world, and then we're members and partners of all of the initiative that is going on. And we're also advocating the US SPM standards of the SPTF through the publications. So the standards themselves were published in this occasional paper that I just mentioned earlier. So in further advocating the standards, also the network has done some major achievements. And then I think in terms of urging regulators and local industry stakeholders, MFI has done a lot in lobbying, and calling these stakeholders and regulators to take part in some of the trainings we conducted and conferences that we held, so that they take attention to what SPM is and what's going on. And I think as an experience involving the regulators, especially, I would say, so that when future issues relating to regulation can also be handled ahead of time. And at the national level, because in the Ethiopian context, like I've said, we're taking the initiative to involve the regulator, which is the central bank, the National Bank of Ethiopia, and they have been on board from the get-go, and they see the importance of the social performance management in the industry, and most importantly, they have noticed, just as there is some few indicators for the financial performance, there is a need to also have indicators for the social performance. So industry-wide indicators are also being considered. And the regulatory body has also come to realize that developing codes and directives and policies relating to social performance might be the next best thing to do for the regulatory body, which is the National Bank in our case. And commitment from all stakeholders was sought out, and for this, the response is quite overwhelming, considering SPM at an early stage. This was, I think, one of the factors that are very encouraging. And currently, for information, embarking upon implementing my
Kinfei? You've drifted off again. Hello? Funny, we can see the slides that he's showing us from Ethiopia, but we can't hear his voice.
Okay.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Yes.
So you can start at the top of lessons learned.
Okay. So these are the major things to share a few that I think we learned it through this MISION project that we have conducted for the past 2 years. And in that, there's a challenge in implementing SPM really, but mostly the challenge is a change management challenge. Like, microfinance institutions, there are some senior practitioners in the industry, there are those founders SPM really, but the issue is that we conducted through the MISION project focuses on their overall performance management. So various gaps that were crucial were also identified. So this is one thing that can grab the attention of the MFIs, in bettering their management overall. And involving stakeholders in the industry is a key, I would say, a key lesson. Unless and otherwise, you involve stakeholders like regulators right from the get-go, it might create a problem along the way. So it's better to involve the stakeholders in the industry and then get them on board what's going on. And in terms of challenge that I just mentioned, is change management issues, we've seen that bigger MFIs where you find very senior founders are more difficult to work with rather than the new MFIs who are really keen and interested and flexible for new ideas and change. And the other thing is persistence and close follow-up does really make a difference because, as you know, microfinance is a very busy sector, and practitioners are usually overwhelmingly busy, so they don't usually pay attention to anything that other people come up with. So you have to be really persistent to push the envelope. And the next point would be SPM is not a new dimension, but an extension of overall performance management. I think this is one thing that we learned experience, that we should reflect so that the microfinance institutions don't consider social performance management as something that's additional that they're required to do, but it's something that was missing, but it's part of their whole performance management. They have a very complete performance management. Elements of SPM will definitely be there because it's talking about clients, it's talking about staff, it's talking about governance, and all of those issues are there, which you have to consider really if you have a very performance management. So this is one big lesson I think for us in the industry. And local capacity is key because you cannot really depend on expat consultants coming from overseas because issues can come at any time, and then having local capacity built, having technical assistant providers and consultants trained in this issue is really a plus, because you can use these consultants anytime, and mostly they're eager to learn, and then they will be cooperative with the MFIs as well. And SPM, what we're trying to do, we learned that it's a new trend that we're trying to really install in the whole industry. Just like years ago, the issue was finance. Now it's SPM. So we want people to really take it on board and use it for the long term. takes time. So it requires special.
Kinte? We've lost our connection to Addis Ababa. We're hoping to get it back. I'm actually going to see if I can wrap him up so we can ask questions.
Institutions. Okay, it's time now.
Yep. Sorry, we had lost you again for a little bit there. So I actually,
Okay.
you're pretty close to the end, so I'll let you wrap up, and then we can ask you some questions.
All right, all right. So I hope that more MFIs will be implementing, the Progress Out of Poverty Index tool to measure their impact. And we hope that MFIs will be developing new and appropriate products that are related to the needs of their clients. Well, we also hope that MFIs addressing client protection principle, codes, policy, procedures, manuals, and operations will also be taking place. And we hope for SPM to be integrated to the new MI system that most MFIs are, going for. And their monitoring system, can also track performance management, social performance management. We hope for that to take place as well. And MFIs, we want them to report to regulators on SPM as well. We want also the regulators to be demanding for, some indicators common to the industry. And more MFIs hopefully will report to the mix. So what I would like to say to wrap up is, institutions financial performance management. Thank you for your attention, and I.
Kinte? So I'm going to actually, we do have a couple of questions here, and I'm going to ask them, but I want to make sure that Kinte can actually hear me. We seem to have lost him both audio and his microphone. I mean, you can't hear me and we can't talk to him. So
Yes.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been a challenge. Unfortunately, you've been kind of in and out for the last 15, 20 minutes, but fortunately the slides are there and people, I think I've got the most of it. What I wanted to do is Magdaleno Bogamento from the Philippines has actually asked you a couple of questions, and I'm going to ask those right now while you can hear me. The first question asked was, are you targeting and tracking your clients as well as social audit? How about protecting the clients? I guess the question is, so how does this actually translate into more protection for clients?
Okay. Shall I go ahead?
Yeah, please. And Magdaleno, if I didn't ask that quite correctly, then go ahead and type in a clarification. But go ahead, Kinte.
Okay. Thank you for this question. I think the whole issue of protecting the clients, I think, is really addressed in SPM. Well, what we have done under this project is collaborate with the SMART campaign to also provide some core trainings on the client.
Uh-oh. Got him right in. Yes, you're back.
Okay. Okay.
No, I spoke too soon. Well, this is becoming a difficult process here. I see Magdaleno
Earlier that the Mission project focuses on supporting this MFIs in developing manuals and code of ethics. That is really focusing on protecting the clients. But as I've said earlier also, the issue of protecting clients is on board SPM as a whole, because if we are looking at SPM as a pathway, as a process, what's the need and we're also looking as one element by itself, but as part of the SPM is included.
Yeah, this is getting to be too painful, Kinfei, because we keep on
Bad
losing
connection. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think unfortunately we have your slide, but the questions don't come through. Let me just try to ask. There was another question from Bob Sutton, who's in Panajachel, Guatemala. He said, with an established organization, founder syndrome, any tips on how to nudge for sustained change? So when you have that really entrenched leader that's been there for a really long time, how do you get them to see the need for change? Can you hear me?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Erg.
CEO, Dr. Woldai, perhaps I don't know if some of you know him. He's been also in the industry for quite some time, and he's a key person in the whole industry, and has been on board the SPM, have taken all the trainings, have promoted, have used every opportunity to promote SPM. And this very stringent and senior people that I just mentioned about as a challenge happen to listen to what he has to say, because he's also a very quite important voice in the industry. But apart from that, like I've said, persistence and perseverance really pays off, because even though these people are not interested to listen to the small things that you have to say, help the MFI, because in doing this, what we have
Okay, well, I think I need to put this webinar out of its misery, because it's clearly not working the way we had intended.
in some of these big microfinance institutions and senior people. So this is what I can say, the persistence, and then using very important voices, which the envelope would be one.
Okay, so Kinfei, I think I'm going to bring this to a close, only because we're just losing you so often that unfortunately we're missing all of your great answers here, and unfortunately won't be on the recording either because we just don't have the connection. But
no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's what I will do is, for all of you that did tune in today, I'd be happy to give you Kinfei's contacts, and you can go ahead and ask him questions via email if you like. And well, I think I can hear you right now. There was a question about whether or not you would be doing going out to other parts of the world to do some training regarding this. And actually, it's from Magdaleno from the Philippines. So I guess, are you going out to the Philippines or Asia at any time with CRS to do anything around MISION?
I would say the CRS MISION project taking place in Ethiopia is also happening in some 6 African countries. It will also be my future aspiration for this to really take place.
Okay, great. There was, let's see, it sounds like we have a good connection, so I'm going to try one more question from Derege Legues. Appreciating all the achievements, I want to know, how are you working on the challenges of raising the local capacity?
What we've done is, we have located some consultants that were previously working in the microfinance industry and who understand the microfinance environment. And then we brought them on board, and we've been urging them to take part in all of the training sessions that we had and build their capacity, make us, ask questions, and, create this really smooth relationship. Now, that's not just, for one year project, but something that we can use for a very along the way. So these consultants who are also the experience of the industry are helping you really in getting across the message. But in the network as well, what we do is we share with of all of the issues in SPM. So every trainings we don't miss, we participate, and then most importantly, we try to update ourselves. So capacity building is really important because now we have learned that if we can do it ourselves, we have the flexibility and the willingness to go ahead and do it in any microfinance institution that is interested, and we can also push them somehow because we understand the benefits it can bring to the industry.
Great, and actually that question is a really good segue for me to announce to everybody that's still listening that we are running a week-long course in Ghana in March. It's going to be March 18th to the 22nd, and it will be a really in-depth treatment of the whole topic of bringing back balanced performance management to microfinance institutions, and it will be with Boubacar Diallo. That registration is still open. In fact, we even have scholarships from the MasterCard Foundation for practitioners who are working in Africa, preference for women if you're working for small organizations, but the deadline is Friday. You can go to the SMDP Ghana website and download the application and please submit it. And even if you wouldn't be eligible for the scholarship, I encourage you to spread the word about the training in Ghana. It's really an excellent program. We did it as a 2-day program and then expanded it to 5 days because we had so much interest and so many people were saying it was not long enough to really cover this very comprehensive topic that Kinfe has tried to do in less than an hour. So please go to the SMDP Ghana website and you can find more information. I really appreciate all of your patience for being on a webinar that had some technical difficulties, and I also appreciate the great effort from Kinfe Mikel and what you've done to bring this message across to us. And you're one of the leaders in the field that I think hopefully people will continue to hear from. And this is a hugely important issue to microfinance. Obviously, this is something that requires some changes within organizations, changes in the thought pattern of some institutions that may have kind of forgotten their mission. And here's a pathway to make that mission come into focus and to bring back balance to organizations that ultimately are trying to achieve poverty alleviation and make a difference in the communities and the economies where they operate. So thank you very much, Kinfe. I appreciate your time and effort on this. And I think I'm going to wrap it up here and wish everyone a good day. And hopefully you'll tune in to our next webinar, which will be next Thursday, the 14th, with Hugh Allen, talking about the Savings Group's web-based MIS system. So thank you again, and everyone, please have a good day.